Welcome to The Vinyl Underground, presented by Crowd Control. This is Behind the Decks, your backstage pass to North Carolina's emerging electronic music scene. We're bringing you raw conversations, killer beats, and the untold stories of DJs shaping the underground. Plug in, vibe out, let's go.
Welcome to the Vinyl Underground podcast Behind the Deck series. I'm your host, Tony Technique, along with my co-host, Tim Pinner. Our guest today is Lex Nell, a musician and DJ who also has a history as a vocalist and songwriter. Lex is a rising artist in the North Carolina electronic music scene and has been creating quite a following with her eclectic DJ sets and well-rounded style. Welcome, Lex, to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Good to see you guys.
All right. Yes.
Glad to be here.
I've been following you, already since what? After Set You Free? Before that? Actually, I started seeing your name pop up, I don't know, maybe after 2021 or something like that, in which I think that's around the time when you really started breaking out, right?
Yeah, that's when I came down. Yeah.
And that's from...
Got in early.
Came down from New York or something, right?
Yeah. I came down from New York, slowly came down. I was in Wilmington for a year before I made it to Raleigh, but I think by the time we did Set You Free, I was in town for maybe not quite 6 months yet. So you met me pretty... Didn't know that. Yeah, you guys both met me pretty soon after I moved to the area.
That's right. And
I'm still fairly new in the scheme of things. I feel like an old veteran of the scene now, but yeah.
I remember seeing your name pop up on different, flyers and whatnot, and I'm like, who's this Lex Nell? And I've, kind of merging out into the scene and whatnot. And then we met you at Set You Free, and your history. I know that you were up in New York for some time.
I was there. Yeah, I was in New York City proper for 11 years. But the majority of my time there, I was a band leader, vocalist, songwriter, doing band life. So I was not DJing for the majority of my time in New York. I was in a different zone doing like art pop, art rock stuff. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I heard a little bit of your little vocalist just before a few minutes ago. What did you do? You did a little harmonization?
I did.
Yeah, let's hear it. Come on, Lex.
Oh, that's hysterical. Yeah. No, that's enough for another podcast. Yeah.
That's
awesome.
You can
nice
sample
try.
your own stuff though. See.
Oh yeah, sample your vocals.
Yeah. Well, there'd be some. Yeah, I do have some. I do have some things in the works to incorporate vocals, but I'm not going to speak too much on that now. But I do plan on singing again. It's been a very long break, the longest break I've ever taken. But I've been singing since I was a little one, and people don't really know me as a singer in Raleigh. They know me predominantly as a DJ, but I'm looking forward to bringing that back out a little bit. I kind of feel like, it's time.
Is it like a spike back out? I mean, in a band, or kind of just?
No, I think I'm going to. I have some things in the work to do some experaments in conjunction with my DJ sets.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm started the rehearsals for that, and we'll see what happens. I mean, I could do bands again, honestly. Yeah. I have a jazz background. I've thought about like getting into jazz singing and stuff like that, but we'll see. There's a lot of time for that.
Awesome.
So yeah.
A real musician. Like she can lay down every layer she wants, and that's refreshing.
Angles. Yeah,
everybody has that.
I come from my dad's a full-time, musician, and his dad was a musician, and jazz fusion. Yeah, definitely in the blood. It's in the blood.
Yeah,
it's in the DNA.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Thanks, parents.
Yeah, I'm super blessed. And my mom's like, incredible music lover, and like the taste is just so. My mom loves, like, she'll come to the raves, like she's down, like anything I show her, she's down for.
Yeah, I saw her one time at one of the parties.
Yeah, she'll see her around. You'll see Amy Nelson around from time to time.
Wow,
put her on blast.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I've been really blessed with like awesome musical parents that have been supportive of music and have good taste
and stuff.
And have you done like training, like vocal training, or study piano?
Yeah, I mean, so I grew up. I grew up playing violin. I was just telling Tim before we started. So I did violin all throughout school. I wasn't particularly great at it, but I have a really good ear. I write on keys. Again, I don't consider myself a pianist, but I can get around well enough to play in bands. And so I can play to a certain degree, but I'm not like super proficient in complicated sheet reading, sight reading. I was like a choir girl all growing up, and I also was a theater kid. The choral aspect was a lot of awesome music training. And I did do like some vocal lessons, but more so for like nerdy stuff, like competitions and trying to, not necessarily for like learning, but for like trying to get gold medals as a nerd.
Dominating.
And cool. I did study jazz for a bit in New York. I studied out of the New England Conservatory for a little while. I thought maybe I wouldn't want to do that in New York, but then I ended up just doing my own music. So there's some training, but a lot of it is like ear and feel and genes, I think.
Yeah, having the ear for just harmonization.
I don't like
and everything.
Part natural, part you worked hard at filling in the blanks on technical aspects, but also I think you have to kind of have both gifts to collectively.
And I went to like a conservatory program in college, and I had to do like music theory classes in there in that program, and I just I'm not good at music theory, but I'm like really good at cheating because I can use my ear to cheat. So I can like get by, but I'm not really doing it the way you're supposed to do it. Not really doing any of it the way you're supposed to do it.
I don't know which musician. It's like some famous musician. I don't know if it's like some jazz musician. I don't know if it's Miles Davis, one of those guys. Anyway, I never studied their music theory and don't even know how to read sheet music.
Yeah.
But they're like amazing.
Right.
I might not be the right artist.
Yeah, that's a fact, man. Some are well trained and they work hard at it. They're not naturals, but others are.
Yeah. Stevie Wonder. Those guys are blind. I mean, they can't even read sheet music, right? They do everything by ear and whatnot, So it's a talent, that doesn't need to be so formal.
I'm a firm believer in that. It's like you don't need to like reach music theory level X, Y, Z in order to like be a creator and make things. Like if you want to do it, you can do it. I don't think a lot of people feel like super blocked because they don't have like a formal training in music. And I definitely am like, I have both lived it and know that it's like, you don't really need that stuff. If you have a passion for it and you're down to like experiment and now there's YouTube. So,
right.
The rest is history now.
I know. And you gotta play that game a little in a way.
Then you got into DJing after your
Yeah. So I was doing like band life played in other people's bands, smaller bands. I did like some small touring internationally and nationally, nothing crazy. I always needed to have a music project in my life while I was working day jobs. Like I always needed to be in a band or singing. My band in New York before I left, it was like on average like 6-piece, and I inherently I don't love managing people and being a band leader. I worked with fantastic musicians that were lovely people and were incredible to work with, but it's just not really like my favorite aspect of music. It is, having to manage bands. So I kind of burn out on that whole zone, and I got into DJing because I just wanted to feel like just complete joy in music again, because band leading and doing that whole thing had like kind of become kind of stressful for me. And so I had also like some background doing radio in college. I'd always I'd had a music blog for friends. I was always sending like mixtapes to people and stuff like that. So I already was curating from like a very young age, and I was like encouraged to DJ much younger, but I just expected it to be very expensive. I just thought I couldn't afford to do it. And you know, that's kind of when it was a little more expensive. It's, you know, but now it's not. When I got into it, I think I started actually gigging in like 2019 in New York. I finally, like, I was bedroom DJing for a while and doing radio and stuff like that. And yeah, so 2019 came and it was going really good. Found myself a crew and played some shows, and it was going really good. And then the COVID days hit. So it was a break from there. It wasn't much to do in New York at that time. And I left, did a bunch of radio during those days, and now here we are.
It's amazing.
So honestly, even though I started in New York, I feel like I've gotten my feet wet more here in North Carolina than I really did as a DJ in New York. I got some tastes of it. I got some good times, but I've been doing a lot more here than I ever really did DJ-wise in New York. But my sound, I think, is influenced by New York a lot.
Nice.
I think when people hear me down here, they notice, they're kind of like, what's your... Like, where are you from? Like, you know, I don't identify, like, my sound doesn't always inherently identify as, like, a North Carolinian.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, where are you from? What's going on?
Right, because I was wondering that, like, you know, why electronic music? Why didn't you just become like a, you know, wedding DJ or something? I don't know. I mean,
she's not mainstream. That's
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't even know.
No.
I wouldn't even know. Listen, I'm not knocking weddings.
Your disco sets are solid, though. You could still do. That's
I'm doing a monthly disco thing, which has been really fun. I wasn't sure what to make of it because I kind of started out DJing some disco. That was kind of like the beginnings when I would do some like bar dates. I would always incorporate disco. And one of the radio shows I was on in New York was a soul-based station, and so I would do some like disco to kind of like mold into you know what kind of worked with that platform.
Sure.
And disco definitely worked in that zone. So I kind of started out doing some more disco, and it's been a long time. Now I don't play disco anymore, but I've started doing this monthly at Velvet Hippo in Durham. It's been super fun. And it's like really, I thought it was going to be a piece of cake, but it's great practice because so many of those tracks were recorded live without a click. So you really, it's very close to having to play vinyl because the tempos move a lot.
Yep.
It's a very live
It's
feel.
off the grid. It's not on the grid.
Nothing's on the grid.
You
So
know.
it's good practice for your ear.
When it comes to disco, I mean, we know the influences from Chicago and Detroit and New York, and there's a certain epicenter of that. Are there a ton of new artists that are in that vein too that you can kind of play modern 2025? People still putting out in that genre, but with an electronic feel.
There are a lot. There are a lot. My sets I've been trying to grab into the older bag more for mine, but there is a lot of newer disco. Yeah, there's a lot of new stuff coming out that's super good. I have a show on Dance Groove Radio in Durham. And there's a really good disco show on there, and they play a lot. And I can't remember the DJs now. If anyone wants to hit me up, I can get the name for you. But they play a lot of really good current disco stuff that's been really cool to hear. Because it's not something that like I'm always on.
Right.
You know, it's not. I'm not on the. I don't always have the tip for it because I'm digging for so many things, and that's not generally. It's on the list. I just can't get to everything on the list.
They call it new disco, right? I mean, that's like the genre.
Yes, to an extent. Well, like there are
new disco.
It's definitely a sound. I went through that phase, kind of 2015. I don't know, just new. Like Inspector Norse. There's certain
that
tracks
stuff
that's
love.
true new disco.
And I have
disco,
played that at the I had one of the nights recently.
Todd
I did a lot of the
or whatever.
a lot of like the French influence.
The Italian stuff.
That I love that from like those early 2000s.
The Cassius, even Air, Daft Punk Justice.
I played all of those tracks the other night. I was like, I gotta do the French house.
That scene is so good. Early Daft Punk. I mean,
so good, so good. Yeah. That's some of my favorite. That's some of my favorites. If we don't go back to the 70s, 80s, then I love a good French house, French disco set. Like, classics. Never gets old. Never gets old.
No, that's good stuff. Yeah.
And it went over super well because it's never gonna get old.
And then fossils like me running around and get to sort of, oh yeah, I know this
Yeah,
shit,
exactly,
man.
exactly. But then the young people don't even know why they like it, but then they get to hear it for the first time. It's like 20, it's kind of way before 25-year-olds at this point.
Yeah.
Unless they're super, like knowledgeable, they might never have heard that stuff.
Or until Kanye samples it or something. Man.
Right.
You guys good production, but it's kind of like, this is bigger, stronger, faster.
Yeah, and
it's
they're
like
doing
you messed up my Daft Punk track.
Yeah.
Didn't they do they just redid Lady?
Oh yeah,
I'm like, why are you redoing that? It's so freaking, don't redo
Planet
that.
Fitness music.
That's like,
What is that, Mujo?
The original Majo, something like that.
Yeah. Why are you redoing that?
Yeah, it's a classic.
No offense.
Yeah, it's a 4 out of 5 remixes are never. They shouldn't even try.
It's like it's still fresh.
Yeah,
it's still fresh.
Yeah. But
anyway, we can just complain about remakes for a while.
I know. We're positive people, but every now and then when we're intimately together, we got to diss something.
We got to diss somebody.
You have a big diss button. Pew, pew, pew. Diss track.
Right. We're going to work that in on edit.
Matter of fact, let's put the diss button here.
Yeah, you need some buttons. You need some buttons.
The reject, boom.
Yeah.
But we were just talking about like different styles that you go into and whatnot. You can go into like some UK garage, then some sort of techno, and then some house. I mean, where do you get all this stuff from, man? It's like we can go and usually when I'm going to your sets,
very eclectic.
The other night we were at we did the back to back with Adam and
I love that guy. I wanted to ask. I'll ask about your relationship later. He's one of my favorite humans.
Samesies.
And you guys would just going at it, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool, And I've heard you solo before and everything, and it's always something new to expect. So that's it's good to be well-rounded that way, I guess, and I'm just wondering, what is your favorite style? Like, what is it that you like to play?
I appreciate that you have been like intrigued and appreciative of the variety and the eclecticism of the sets, because it's definitely, I feel like, not always encouraged. I think it's kind of often to like find your niche style and kind of stay there.
Yeah. Yes.
And maybe to some degree I'm like fairly feeling like I'm never going to be able to stay in one lane. I don't know if that's going to happen. Awesome. I am giving a lot of thought into like what are my favorite things to play. I definitely came into the Raleigh scene known as like a minimal deep house. That's kind of how people started to know me. I played a lot of like deep and minimal house. But it's really gone off the rails since then. So it started to be like, oh, wait, I thought you did this. And now I've played a lot of different sets. It keeps me interested and excited. And I feel like for the most part, people have been pretty cool to hang. I'm sure it confuses some people. I'm still kind of trying to figure out that whole thing. But I honestly feel like I was even thinking about it today in the car. And I do a lot of like digging and think I love the car time. Like car time is a great time for thinking and brainstorming. And I'm a big driving person for like having Hazan moments and thinking about music and gigs and planning and stuff like that. And I think that things that I keep coming back to, and I do deviate often, but I really love like the UK bass sounds, garage, breaks. A lot of the UK club sounds I really tend to resonate with, especially if they are bass heavy, breaky, or just have like really wonky percussion. Like I've been playing a lot of like UK baile funk, and I didn't even really know that's what it was called. And it has like, the Latin soca rhythms, and I really keep coming back to that stuff. And I think that that's always going to be, I think I would like to play more of that. There's not always a lot of space for that. Raleigh Durham has some of it going on, but I'd like to see more of it. And I'm really like grateful every time I get opportunities to do those kind of sets. But it is really location dependent. I think in my heart, I probably lean more towards like music that is more challenging for listeners, like not easy listening. Could still be really danceable, could still have some melodic elements. Always percussion is like a very big thing for my sets, is just like really intricate, unique percussion. It's always kind of what I gravitate towards, is like cool polyrhythms and wonky sounds and stuff like that. A lot of like sound design textures. I do think the more that I DJ, like the more interested I am in like more challenging sets and challenging the listener more, because I spend a lot of time learning how to like move the floor and read the, and work with the crowd and make everyone dance. And I only feel like I'm starting to have a handle on that now, honestly. I feel like that takes a while in itself to really feel like you have control over that to some degree. As like, I feel like I'm pretty new at even having a handle on that to some degree. And now, of course, I'm in a position where I'm like, now I want to make you all run away. No, I don't want to do that, but I just like...
You want to teach, I think. I think you have probably a musical IQ that, I don't know, you wouldn't say this, but I'm perceptive just from your background, what you've said. You probably can enhance others and get them, this is within 10% of a range I know that you already like, but let me give you a little more complexity. And, whether that's your motivation or just you almost selfishly saying, hey, this is kind of cool for me. And oh, by the way, I hope some of you like it too.
Yeah, it's definitely more selfish usually. I feel like I'm always trying to entertain myself when I play. Like, I definitely want the audience to be a part of it, but like I have trouble like recycling songs at all, and I know that's going to be really awesome. Sacrilegious for a lot of DJs. Or like, you need to know your catalog, and I'm like, yeah, but I am so bored if I just play my catalog. I've got to keep it fresh like all the time. So I think I get lucky a lot of times where a lot of the stuff that I'm excited about, I just get really lucky that it happens to resonate with people, and that and some of that is just, that's just luck. My taste could be far more obscure and avant-garde where it's much harder for people, but I feel like my taste sometimes walks like a line between intellectual but still danceable and relatable to people, which is kind of, again, just luck. That's kind of where my taste sits. It's not like too difficult for people, hopefully. So that's a very long-winded answer.
Good answer
to your question, but yeah. I'm actually working right now on a new mix that's going to be a lot of like UK club sounds with like a lot of Latin percussion and very bassy and a lot of breaks. So, which I have some of those up, but going to do that again.
Well, that's the name of your dance group radio show. It's called Percussive
Euphoria.
Oh, yeah, clever.
My good friend Luke actually came up with that name, not pertaining to the radio show, but I asked him once, what do I play? Like, what is it? Like, what's my vibe? Because it's just so hard to like name sometimes it's hard to hear your own, like know what you do yourself. You're like, what do you play? You're like, how does this come across? Because sometimes I'm all over the map, like, and he was like, I would say that like the two elements is like it's always like heavy, like it's very percussive, like percussion is always a part of it, and then there's usually some sort of like ethereal, euphoric, like ambient thing going on. And so he came up with that term, and I was like, can you mind if I use that? So I got to give him credit for that. And it's perceptive because I don't know that I would have necessarily figured that out for myself.
Yeah,
because I go by feel and not necessarily like, thinking about it genre-wise or verb-wise, or, I don't like mine's very much feel-based. Yeah. And so I don't always even really have an idea what I'm doing. Yeah.
Quantifying is hard for me. Being how it's perceived maybe by others, or a good friend with.
Yeah, I'll play sets and be like, so what would you call that?
That's probably why I'm drawn to a lot of that, because I'm big into percussion styles. A lot of my sets, when I'm putting this stuff together, one of my friends said, "Oh, you like that delayed percussion style, right?" It's like, you know what I'm trying to say? So it's like, yeah, I kind of like that percussive, percussion type, and that's why I like with when I'm playing like techno or something, I like that very hypnotic, percussive sounding techno,
Yeah, you can tell in the stuff that you play.
Yeah, and I'm really into that, and then of course the ambience, type layers of synths behind it or something just makes it so much richer.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know, I love
more
it.
complex, the better, man.
Yeah, you know.
I think.
Yeah.
So that's cool though. Yeah.
Yeah, my dad, he's a jazz fusion guitarist, and his favorite music, and what I've brought up on Latin jazz, is like the pinnacle of like the most intelligent music on earth. And because the percussion is so complex, and it really is, especially in Cuban music, and and so again, like that was always I was hearing that in the songs that he was playing and the things he was writing and the stuff he put on.
Yeah.
And so I think that just inherently I picked up on a lot of that interest through his interest.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well-rounded type, musical upbringing too, as well as you mentioned disco and, jazz and Latin jazz, all that stuff has influence, right? So same here on my end. It was just disco and funk and, being Latino, had, salsa and Latin jazz, all that stuff. So I guess the percussion and all those things, is like, you feel like, all right, that's my thing.
Yeah,
It kind of moves a lot of beauties too. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you, there's
more
a
than
Tulumi,
anything.
Barcelona sound where they're taking flamenco, but they're making it just sick as fuck. Yeah, but it's like it's intelligently done, and you still have the beauty of say flamenco or certain styles. Like I said, every country matters, or whatever. And Spain's certainly different than Mexico, which is different than Cuba. But I kind of find that music, it just gets bodies
rich.
moving.
It's like a rich sound, right? It's what I think about it. In the ways when I think about it,
Yeah.
And I know you have some stuff coming up. You got some new projects and whatnot, and something with Femme Fatales are coming up next, right?
Yeah. We're doing a bi-monthly residency at Ruby's in Durham, where it's all femme lineup every second Friday of the month, and that's this Friday. And it's a really good lineup this Friday, and
Friday, May
Ruby's
9th.
is super fun. Yeah, the 9th. The 9th.
It's
So
once a month.
Yes. No, it's bi-monthly. So
Bi-monthly.
if this one's probably going to be aired after it. So the next one would be July 11th, second Friday in July will be the next one for that. And actually I think we're going to have some vinyl DJs come through for that one.
Fun.
So that's going to be exciting. I don't know that I'll be prepared to play vinyl, although I'm learning. I might be the lame one on that one, but we're going to but it'll be great to have
You'll figure it out and
some
crush it.
ladies.
Who put the
spinning
collective
vinyl.
together?
It was Kat, who goes by
Kat.
Poetic Note.
Right,
Well, actually, it was kind of funny because I think at least 3 female DJs, we all had the same idea at the same time, and just Kat was the one to open up the conversation, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I was going to hit Ruby's up about doing that. Someone else was like, oh my gosh, I was just talking about doing that. So I was like, why don't we all do it? So essentially, like Kat is like, in the driver's seat. I'm kind of like second in command. I'm supporting. And then we have a couple other ladies who are like regular residents, Epiphany and Elysium and and the letter V is in there as well from time to time when she can get off work. And we'll be bringing in a lot of like femme DJs, but it's been really fun. I'm a big fan of Ruby's. I've always loved Ruby's. It's built-in crowd, and they're always down. They are, and I find in my experience that they're very open-minded. They would love if you'll play the hottest track that everybody knows, but if it's good and they don't know it, they're fine. They're down for that too, which
cool.
I love about it. So they're open-minded. They'll shoot their request, but then when you give them something else, they're like, "Oh, this is great too. I'll take this," which I love about Ruby's.
That's pretty cool to hear.
Yeah,
Good
great
way of
spot to
describing
play.
a club, and that's because this is meant to be a highlight on the triangle scene. So the
Ruby's,
more we can hype our friends and
go over to Ruby's, even if you don't know what's going on, because they do bands all the time.
Yeah.
I haven't ever seen a band there, but they do bands all the time there.
Yeah. I was speaking to Kat about that. Shout out to Kat.
Yeah.
Note and from Kinetic Audio. But
Badass.
I know,
She was like, yeah.
Johan, we love you too.
Yeah.
Not to be forgotten.
She was check out, Ruby's and whatnot, that they're pretty open to things. I was like, all right.
Yeah, Ruby's is great people. Yeah, great to work with on the back end. Like, just fantastic people. Yeah, really treat the artists well. Like, treated really well.
Yeah.
I mean, when can you get a dinner and you play. I mean, it used to be, I've heard of the golden era where you'd get a meal when you played, and Ruby's will feed you. Oh, you're like, go get a burrito on us. You're like,
Can't beat
love
that.
this.
That is nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get on the owners.
Proper hospitality.
You get it.
They've been there for a while too, right? I mean, I'm sure they've been.
Yeah, well,
they're
I
pretty
mean,
established.
I wouldn't know how long, but I mean, even if it's just the other great thing about it is like you don't have to have that stress of promotion because like they will be there. Like they might not, you might be like, oh shoot, it's 10:15, it's 10:30, like the room is empty, but like there's going to be a point in the night where it's going to fill all the way up, which is just so cool that they have that kind of like, not necessarily following, but just like that kind of clientele that are just that built-in.
Yeah.
Let's
crowd.
do a tentative plan 2 months from now.
Let's do it.
Because, you know, I'm a restaurant guy, so I, you know, sometimes you just miss this, you know, Durham, that's the problem. So you got to get there, you got to.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
And then, you know, so.
Yeah.
But if with a little planning.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe
you,
we'll look at our schedules. Yeah, I mean, because heck, I didn't miss a damn show back in the day, and now I'm like, this sucks. I'm off the clock at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Not that we
tough.
aren't used to some late nights in our life, but at the same time, you know, you want maybe 11:30 would be better to be there.
Well, I invited you to our thing in June, so we have something in June 8th.
Oh, man. Okay. So
Do I know what it is?
23rd,
Not
8th,
yet.
20th
Okay.
of
We're putting it
June.
out.
So those are my three, but you know what? Maybe I'll pick up a dud Tuesday, Wednesday, and
Yeah, are
take
you
a weekend
usually
off.
weekends?
Yeah, I'm more weekends because that's
I'm
busy.
gonna come visit you.
You must, and I mean, you know, take off. But yeah, you'd love the place. I mean, it's a place that would look good for a sunset set. We're just trying to figure out logistics. And, and I work for a
that's
guy
what
who
you're
used to own a really
talking
good club in Raleigh that was before its time, and we helped start these day parties back then, which they've then carried over. And there are people, you know, like Jermaine and Ashley and
Okay.
Keith Ward and blah, blah, blah.
Are they doing that this year?
Jefferson from Wilco. Yeah, they are. So the first one there, and this is good for everybody to know because these are great parties in the daytime. Sunday, I think May 30th. And then there'll be, let's just call it June 29th, June 31st, whatever that ends up being.
Yeah.
But the end of every month, and I think they do 4 or 5. But they're fun, and it's nice just to be in the sun, 2 to 6. They go to William and Company afterwards, one of my favorite go-tos, great DJs, great lighting.
Yeah.
So, so maybe that's another one we'll cross paths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The day parties are a big thing right
Just
now.
a good vibe,
And a
You
good
know,
vibe.
and that's shifting. I mean, you know,
It is.
now it's like coffee house parties or
Yes.
you know, bodega raves and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know,
Some yoga at 9 to 11, and then
You
a
know,
DJ
I mean,
starts, and you're like, all right.
I can go with that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Me too.
something different, right?
Yeah, it
I'm
is.
still going to be in the nighttime, but I mean, the daytime too. Let's go.
Right.
Sometimes I have to go to bed early.
Right.
We were talking about female DJs and how, you know, it's becoming more and more into the scene now, and how, I don't know, there was a Mix Mag, you know, poll or something, or stats showing that back in 2021 there was like 6% of DJs were female, and now that's been blowing up. I mean, I've seen a lot of really good female DJs coming out internationally and all over the place. Any particular ones that you follow that you like that?
Yeah. I love Moxie out of the UK. She's been around forever. I mean, she's probably like 2 decades in now. I just found an awesome producer today named Vitaline out of France who's doing some really cool UK club sounds that are super bassy. I love Cynthia, who owns a record shop in London and is an awesome house producer. I love so many. I'm not going to go through the list. Those are just the ones right now that are coming to the top of my head, but honestly, I could go on for quite some time on female DJs. Amy Dabbs is doing some really good like drum and bass. And again, London. I mean, I was just saying the other day, like I'm going to embrace being American, but I was born in the wrong country. Okay, like everything I like is from the UK.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know they get it done, man.
Wait.
It's so done.
Even when it's acting in Hollywood,
They
they're
got
just
so much
better.
good music over there. It's just
Per
ridiculous.
capita, they kick our ass.
serious.
Yeah.
and it's just tough because I don't really know why it is, but their flavor you can find that flavor in New York, you can find that flavor in LA,
Sure.
maybe a little bit in Chicago, but like it's kind of weird that it doesn't, I think there's some going on in Atlanta. Atlanta does have some going on with that, maybe more than I know. But just the whole like the romanticism of like being able to go hear that stuff every night, anywhere.
Yes.
Like I'm like,
Yes.
oh man,
Just the
dang it.
scene. It's just
Dang it.
so-
Yeah, it's a vibe. And then I said that the other day, and then I was like, well, at the same time, like, I mean, you know, as coming from a jazz background, I was like, I can't disown the U.S. because, like, you know, we did jazz, so come on,
Everybody jazz.
come
yes. Yeah, you got to give us credit for
on,
something.
yeah,
Come on now.
I'll give it, yeah, exactly.
And we're a superpower.
yeah, right.
We'll bomb your ass and play jazz.
That's right. Vitaline, Vitiline. Is that what I'm?
I think it's Vitaline, and she's from France. Yeah, I just found her today, and I was just bumping her stuff in the car. Wouldn't expect that from this like cute little Parisian. Sister Zoe is doing some like really cool club sounds, and she's not UK based as far as I know. Maybe she is. But yeah, I don't know. I think Moxie was probably one of the first female DJs that I really fell in love with when I got into DJing. I saw her when I was still in New York, and I have a lot of respect for her because she actually never produced. She does. She has a record label, but she's, you know, they're always like, you can only get so far unless you produce. And she's like defied that whole thing. And her taste is also super diverse as well, which, so I can always appreciate that. Just opened up for Hiroko Yamamura, who was badass in The Fruit. So there you go. Legend right there. There's too many to name. We're out here.
That is really cool. You opened for her, man. And we talked about, did you make that show?
Yeah.
You did go, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, talk about an eclectic set. She did an eclectic set.
She slid it.
I didn't really, you know, I had heard I think I heard that one Boiler Room she did in Durham, but I don't think that one was nearly as diverse as the one at the Fruit recently.
Yeah.
Wow.
She was really all over the place.
A decent turnout?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty packed.
It
Yeah.
was
job.
it was
Good
really
job,
good.
girl.
They did a good job over there. Shout out Morning Choir.
That's right.
Shout out The Fruit.
The Fruit, right? Morning Choir. They changed the whole orientation over there. And
They did.
Oh, it's sounding great.
Oh, they
Shout out Cloud or Mountain, incredible audio tech who
that's
upgraded,
Thank God.
helped them tweak the sound to
Yeah.
get the optimal.
Shout out to
big.
Ian out there.
Yeah, shout out to Ian.
Yep.
being Ian.
Yeah, Sable, Patrick upgraded the lights. Shout out to
Oh,
Patrick,
wow.
Tree City.
That's
Oh,
big.
yeah,
They
oh, really?
invested.
Oh, Patrick.
Yes,
Good.
that light is Patrick's
nice.
baby. Yeah, and shout out to Sable who keeps that place running.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about powerhouse female.
Right
Wow,
on.
that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Who would be your ideal person to open up for? I mean, or collaborate with or something, right?
The person that I look to the most, like as a well-round, like as just like what an awesome career to have is Ben UFO. He just kind of can do whatever he wants, and people are just down. And again, it's challenging music. It's not in a box. You don't really know what you're going to hear when he plays.
Yeah.
And again, he's not a producer. And I'm not saying I won't ever produce. I haven't produced house music right now or electronic club music now, but I may do that. But the fact that you can have such a long-standing career without that aspect, and to really just be unapologetically yourself and what you want to play and not pander to any audiences and, you know, trying to hit any numbers and make that work and become like one of the most well-respected DJs in the world is just awesome. So I definitely have like, I kind of look to him a lot as like a really, you know, a similar kind of career that I, you know, I'd like to have, you know, or aspire to like kind of walk that same kind of path.
Eclectic. I mean, it is a kind of eclectic. That's Tim hit that on the nail the other day. He was like, you know, I like her style. Eclectic, you know.
For a short period of time, like it kind of ties in with you, but I think you have a very high IQ thought process and your right side of your brain's firing on all cylinders. So I think you just kind of, amongst just a lot of great talent, but I mean, just hearing you speak on it and musical background, but yeah, I'd like to crunch a bunch of stuff, and you've probably been compiling a encyclopedic amount of songs in your head for a long time, but you haven't been doing that this long, I don't think.
No, it's not too long.
So it feels like you've kind of skipped to the front of the line on.
And I think there's a lot more and more to see from you, you know, coming down the road. And I think, you know, if they haven't found you yet, I'm sure they'll find you soon. And, you know, you're out on all the platforms and everything, and I know that you have a YouTube channel, and I know you see some stuff on there.
I gotta get some. Yeah, I think there'll be some new videos coming up soon.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna be doing a new video set in the next couple of weeks. Nevs TV, who is shout out Matt Landis. He has an awesome YouTube channel with they do a lot of like live DJ set uploads. One of the partners I think is in New York, so there's a lot of like New York DJs, but it's an international channel, so there's a lot of sets from people all over. And I'll be getting one of those up soon. Nice. I hope it's okay that I said that. I think it should be okay.
Yeah.
We don't know when. It's my love, and I don't have a lot of hobbies. Like this is the passion.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I love it. So if it's well received, that's great, because I love to do it, and I like to spend every waking moment doing it.
Yeah.
Either digging or listening or attending or supporting or whatever the heck I can do. But it's always kind of been the music for me. One track mind.
When you turn off the, house, electronic music, whatever, what's the other music that you get into? I know you mentioned jazz and stuff, but that's your go-to after all the craziness?
Generally, when growing up, my memory was that like on the weekends, my dad worked a lot. Well, both my parents worked a lot during the week, but we were all home on the weekends, and I just remember like jazz being played on the Sunday. So now, kind of like following that tradition, I generally have it on Sunday. I think my sister does the same thing, like weirdly, like we've kind of carried on that tradition. I haven't listened to other things lately. Like it has just been like 4 to the floor for a solid like 5 years now.
Yeah.
I am so deep in it.
You're not dwelling with 80s, 90s, 2000s alternative acts. Like
no, I mean, there's probably some that I love of that. I mean, I do love, so right before I got into DJing, I was like really into like a future hip hop phase. So, I every once in a while go back and listen to like some conscious rap from a few years back, like just some of the production and like the conscious hip hop and like future R&B scene, around like, let's just say around the era that like Frank Ocean was popping. Like there just a lot of those like those production elements were like really, really clean. The stuff that TDE was putting out, the label that Kendrick Lamar has been on for a while, like all of that stuff I was super into. I definitely had a lot of like hip hop and like a love of that for a period. I do. I'll listen to classical. Tim and I were talking about classical before we started, but I mean, if the classical station is on and it's a good piece, like I will totally vibe. It is an interesting day when when I am tired of it, and every once in a while, it's good to like have a couple of days where you're tired of it, because it can be like, oh my gosh, like probably need a break from this.
Speaking to me, man. Every now and then,
how can I listen to this much of this? But I do. And like recently, like I was listening to like grime, like really into grime again, another like UK genre. This MC manga Saint Hilaire, and just so good. Like just the super grimy beats with badass MCing with good messaging. So I'll take a break with that I'm open.
Nice.
I'm open.
Yeah.
Send me something for my days off.
Yeah. What about the Lex Layer, man? God, like I said, you've got such a I don't know what the term.
Deep cut.
You got a shit ton of music, and so I couldn't, but I was having fun, just kind of trying to pseudo prepare, and I've still got to go back and listen to a lot. But you put in some work. You recorded a lot of shows.
Yeah, that was for
the Face Radio too. Like you got all this stuff that you're.
Yeah.
I was at Mixcloud. I was listening to some SoundCloud. YouTube.
Shout out the Face Radio BK. They are still active out of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And they're they have a lot of international DJs on that. And I did that for 2 years, and it was a monthly 2-hour show.
Yeah.
Which is pretty. Was it every month or soon? I think it was every 2 weeks. It was something insane.
There were a lot of them. I know that, but I don't know how to quantify it on your level. But yeah,
it wasn't monthly. What the heck was it? I can't remember how many times a month I had to do it. Now I think it was bi-weekly. So I don't think it was weekly. If it was weekly, that's insane. It was COVID though, and it kind of like saved my sanity. It's like gave me something to do. I didn't have a job. I couldn't go anywhere. Yeah. So that's kind of why I was able to like do that output. Yes. I think I wanted to do it monthly, and then my friend was like, no, you should do it. You should just do it. I think it was either bi-weekly or it honestly might have even been weekly. And in like hindsight, that's 8 hours of new music because I only played like new stuff that I'd find. Yes. But it was kind of out of control, the amount of, I think it was weekly. That's crazy. Yeah. But I did that for 2 years. And that was a lot of like, I was kind of known on that station as like the Balearic queen. At that era, I was like playing a lot of Balearic stuff. Like all my sets were like, play this at Ibiza, you know? And it was like, and it was just kind of the right place for that vibe. So it was super fun to do some like down tempo stuff, a lot of stuff like slower than 120 and super fun. And a lot like coming from like a lot of like soul and funk on the other shows, like it was kind of like a little something different. A lot of great DJs on that station that are still active. Shout out to Curtis who runs The Face. We met on Craigslist.
Okay. No way. This is a wild stuff.
Dude, Craigslist, man.
Yeah.
Still going.
Right. Oh, that's cool.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and you have some recordings with Installation, right? Those guys.
Luke Thompson.
And,
don't sleep on Luke Thompson. Installation. Look up that YouTube.
Shout out to Visual Canopy.
Visual Canopy.
Yeah. Good work.
Yeah, incredible work. He has done so much for the North Carolina DJ and creative scene, like single-handedly filmed like dozens and dozens of incredible talent in the area, just himself. And really happy to see his stuff taken off. He does really great work.
Yep, definitely. He's very talented and you know, bringing a lot of DJs to the forefront. Yeah. You know, and that's a good thing that, you know, something like what we're trying to do here, right? Bring some of that talent, people, you know, people to the forefront who are up and coming and whatnot.
Yeah.
And,
he'd be great to talk to, actually. He's out of town for a while, but if he comes back through, man, he's he has a really cool creative vision and
definitely
really cool conversations with him. He's a good friend.
Yeah. He did that DJs with that recording on the beach. Was that like last year or something?
Oh yeah.
In front of the ocean.
I'm so grateful I got to do that because I spent so much of my life in that. At that time, everything, it was like the end of COVID, so it was pretty quiet, not a lot going on in the music scene was kind of starting to come back, but I just spent so much time on that beach. I was doing a lot of healing, you know, through some things that I had been through, and was just like, had so much gratitude and love for that beach, and then to be able to go play a set on that beach and kind of as an homage to that place, and it was just like, very grateful I got to do that. It was a fun one. I'm glad I have that in the archives. It's fun.
When you play on the beach, remember, are you I try to remember this. Do you have speakers set up or anything, or do you just play through? I'm trying to remember the aesthetic. I just did that whole thing through the headphones. That's what I thought. Yeah. Because I don't know. It's just because I am not you guys. You guys have been immersed. So I was just curious, kind of what I remember. But I just think I remember just seeing
that one was just headphones. He brought a little Bluetooth speaker, but that wasn't doing anything for me. So. There was wind and
of course,
and like the elements.
Those are
noise.
Tricky acoustic imaging bit of beach, you know.
But I live in an apartment with paper thin walls, so I have to do all my stuff in headphones anyway most of the time. I had like the most glorious last month where my upstairs neighbors moved out and no one had moved in yet, so I got all my loud music in then, and now we're back to headphones, and that's partially probably why I like to play out as much as I do, as much as I can, because I don't get to like the volume levels like what I want at my apartment.
I have a feeling you'd know this, and this would help me. I used to be a big home theater guy, you know, just exquisite products. A lot of them made in Britain, actually, just fit and finish sound. But is there when it comes to headphones, your monitors, are you an equipment OCD kind of? You apply that same Lex brain towards that, or is that another, like a secondary thing?
Not
Extra
really.
credit.
I mean, I know when things sound bad.
Yeah.
I know when things sound bad. I have HD25s like every other DJ. Nothing fancy or anything. Yeah. I grew up in a household where we were kind of a Behringer family, meaning that like affordability and quality.
Yes.
And Behringer is very, again, split team on Behringer. But essentially like doing whatever you can that sounds the best on a budget. So I haven't like ever really had the bank account to like get the most expensive stuff. But I did get to like, I had a roommate in New York who was a audio engineer who designed rooms and sound systems. And he had a really awesome custom pair in our house. So I've gotten to like, and my dad has got gifted a really good set of speakers for our home from his friend who owns a studio. So like kind of by proxy, I also worked in like one of the greatest recording studios of all time in New York City for 5 years, which doesn't exist anymore. It was called Legacy. And so, you know, like everybody that ever played.
A taste of primo.
So I got to like, and I actually got to record there, which these are all other stories, but like, I've been very fortunate to be in many rooms with really great sound.
That's
and I
the same
know
thing. That counts. Yeah.
Yeah, I know enough about it to know what's good and what's not good, but I don't have anything special at my place. But have been blessed to be in a lot of like really awesome spaces with great sound.
Sure have.
And work with people that knew about great sound. So
yes.
I Set You Free. I remember that set you did over there, and I think you were there, right, Tim?
Yeah, I was there. And again, didn't really just. I was like, I think I've seen her a time or two, and it
was good. It sounded really good.
Was
he had his
Sean's?
little Danley setup.
It was Sean's.
Some of it was Sean. Most of it was Sean's.
Was it Gabe's too? Was it a Gabe and Sean combo? That's a nice combo.
Yeah.
Shout out Gabe Ganji.
Sean
Grijalva.
Gabe Ganji. Shout out to Sean.
That was
G
a
from Rabbit Hole.
Great set.
Thank you.
It was a great set. It was a great collective. It was my first kind of campin-ish thing.
Yeah.
And
awesome festival.
That was a pretty damn good magical local gig.
It really was super awesome.
It was.
I love that size.
Yeah.
The land is awesome.
Yeah.
It was very awesome.
Made a lot of great new friends. You know, you got your foundational. I felt like I knew about 25% of it, but then there just was nothing.
And now
all
Pangea.
positive.
And now Pangea.
Yeah, that's super fun. Yes, I'm
shout out
playing
to the Pangea team. And to Claudio and
shout out to
Rethink.
To
Rethink Techno.
Very excited about that. That's June 13th to 15th coming up.
Soon.
That's right.
Promo code Lex Nell for discount tickets.
There you
Let's
go.
go.
Let's go. Discount tickets. Get
Join
yours now.
me for a magical weekend.
Yeah.
That's right. Out in the woods, South Carolina.
That's right. I like that land. Have you guys have you
I haven't been there.
No,
the land is good. The land is really good.
Is it something like Set You Free? I mean, it's kind of where
it looks greener and more water driven.
It's more. Yeah, it's definitely more trees. It's more wooded.
Yeah.
It's a lot more wooded. It's intimate.
Yeah.
I don't remember how big Set You Free was. I think it might be slightly bigger than Set You Free.
Yeah.
It's hard to quantify. I don't know if I ever asked.
I think they were expecting like 500 over at the Pangea.
4 5? That's a good turnout.
I think that sounds about right to me. But
manageable.
Yeah, and this is so random, but like the food at Pangea was really good last year. They had great food vendors. They had I've been dreaming about those food vendors.
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember their name. I wish I did.
So wait, are they giving you an hour set or do you know?
I don't know. I'm gonna guess it's an hour set, but I'm not sure yet. I haven't got the details.
They got quite a lineup. I mean, they got about 30 DJs.
Yeah, Victor Calderon.
I know Victor Calderon. That's a big one.
That's big. Yeah, Victor
headlining.
Calderon.
Yeah.
Acid Buddha also from Raleigh
Shout out
playing.
to Acid Buddha.
Shout out to Sid. Oh, and Sean Grijalva's playing as well. So
Sean.
we got some Raleigh people
doing the deal
on the lineup, and Kai.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm very much looking forward to that, and it's gonna be really fun. I've been really, really excited to play outside after this winter. It was a little colder here this winter, so I'm ready to go outside. I feel like I'm kind of made to play outside more than inside.
Like the festivals.
Yeah. Just, I mean, sure. Even if it's just, I mean, honestly, if there was a club that just had an outside vibe, that'd be great too. But they do end up generally being festivals.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another really good one that is happening in July. It's called Sonic Oasis. I would keep your eyes open for that one as well. That's going to be a super intimate one, and that's
Local?
Asheville based, and that is also going to be a really good. I can't speak too much on that one, but that's going to be awesome. That's happening in July. So
nice.
Keep your eyes open for details on Sonic Oasis. I think you can look that up on Instagram. I think they have a page, but they haven't made like an announcement on who's playing that or anything yet.
I think something I was thinking about out loud, because there's been different things. We've had these parties in the park. We've had things at a mill, things that are just like impromptu day things that aren't necessarily a festival, but I feel like there's room to kind of like really kickstart something like that. Yeah, like maybe
I think so.
Find every other Sunday. Maybe it doesn't conflict with day party, or but whatever it is, like the fact that you're so kind of gung ho about that, a lot of people would be stoked about something like that, and I don't know if some of these few things, I get invites to some that are in Chapel Hill that sound really cute and fun, and it's a good crowd, but there's got to be room for that.
Yeah.
Clubs have gotten a little tricky around here because there's the population. I don't think has. If there's 5 options and you divide up the amount of people that kind of want to vibe with house music on a given night, it can kind of suck out some of the numbers that, that problem doesn't happen in DC or New York or a real big city. You still could have 100 fill this small venue and 600 in this big one. And we kind of thin the herd on our own unintentionally just because we're not as populated, I guess, or
probably
maybe the scene isn't as blown
it's growing.
up.
I think it's expanding more and more. And I think, from when I started, out here in the scene in 2021, was it, when I found Sean and Rabbit Hole and these guys, and then following that, from that till now, it's a lot of stuff has popped up.
Quantum growth.
You've been in the scene longer than I have.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I feel like there's some of 2012, 13, 14, I think it, I remember kind of being impressed and kind of being plugged in where I kind of had 2 things could do a week, but now it's, sometimes I feel like I'm omniscient. I'm like, there's 8 things tonight. If a friend reaches out that knows less and isn't as geeked out, and once every 6 months they want to meet for some fun show, it proves that we've come a long way.
Yeah. I think it's just going to continue growing, and we want to be a part of it here at the Vinyl Underground with DJs. And,
I know,
and shout out to all the DJs in the area, and follow us on YouTube and subscribe. You're going to see more of great DJs like Lex coming on, and we'll be, interviewing. Tell them where they can find you, Lex. What
am I now? I got hacked in December, so my new account is
I heard about that.
Lex Nell Music on Instagram. I have a link tree there, so you can find my other sites through that. But it's Lex Nell Music on Instagram.
Okay. Yeah.
And if you just Google it, you could probably find some stuff there too, Lex Nell. But yeah, there's a lot of great parties going on to follow. Definitely follow The Fruit. Definitely follow Kinetic Audio. Well, it's Femme Fragments now. Our current series is Fatale Frequencies, but she's like the umbrella. It's under Femme Fragments.
Right.
The Floor, Adam and Marshall, Novisa, Alec Lumami doing great parties.
Party Illegal. With,
yes.
Matt. Shout out to Matt and these guys.
Yeah.
Patrick.
Yep. And Mood Board. And there are just quite a few, really. Rabbit Hole, as we've mentioned before. And I apologize for anyone that I am missing right now. But there's too many to. That's a good problem. There's a lot.
Go Triangle.
Yeah. But I'm glad everyone's doing their thing. We have a lot of talent in the area, so I'm grateful to be a part of a super talented crew. I think for the population, we have like a really good talent pool.
And it's spilling over. We have Charlotte. We have Asheville, and it seems like we're starting to kind of get some
Greensboro too.
Winston-Salem
Yeah,
kind of
there's some
comes
good
into
stuff
it.
in here.
Wilmington.
That's true. Wilmington's got shout out Raleigh Entertainment.
Yep.
Shout out Soundwaves.
Those guys out there. Yep. And it seems like there's some integration happening with people coming over here, and others going over to different cities.
Or a couple of moved from Raleigh to Charlotte and
some Charlotte DJs coming up here, to play, and I think you guys have been out to Asheville to play.
That's a great place, great town, great scene.
So. Well,
White Rabbit. Oh man. Okay, there's too many, but yeah, DM me if you want any recommendations of any good parties anywhere in North Carolina. I can hook you up with some people throwing shows if you don't know where to go. 'Cause sometimes I've talked to some people that are like, I didn't know this was going on in this area. Like I wouldn't have known there was this big of a scene going on. So and I'm sure if they hit you guys up on your site, you might be able to
the Vinyl Underground podcast on Instagram. You can find Lex. You can find all kinds of information. We'll be posting stuff on there, But Lex, thanks for joining us today and telling your story and giving us your time here. Really appreciate learning about what you're about here as a DJ. Hopefully, the audience got to know you a little better.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys. Good hanging with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's an honor.
I mean, Tim, he's got to learn a lot about you. He's like, I don't know much about her, but I'm going to find out.
Yeah.
He did his digging.
You guys did your due diligence.
You got to honor. But I knew enough. And I was like, oh, she's going to be a great guest. So you just know good people, and I've enjoyed your music specifically.
Thank you.
So kind of all of the above.
Thank you.
Yeah. Right. All right. Well,
appreciate
thank you guys for joining, and we'll wrap it up.
Thanks for listening to the Vinyl Underground. If you love the vibe, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share. Want to support the scene? Follow us on Instagram at CrowdControlNC and at the Vinyl Underground Podcast and at Tony Technique. Stay underground, and we'll catch you next time on the Vinyl Underground.